You know, if there's anything in life that makes content creating easier, it's getting video requests. I've been getting a lot of requests from you guys on Discord asking about Praxix. So here's that video. This are my top 3 decks and archetypes for Praxix. So starting off, we're going to talk about Chamber. So Chamber Praxix is my number 3, and that involves decks that use the item Regression Chamber. So this deck here, 31 allies. We have 4 abilities, 4 items. So for the allies, we have 4 Harbinger of the Lost and 3 Stardust Transfusers. That's giving you 7 turn 2 allies, 2 cost allies. Now we have 12 3-cost allies. That's Brimstone Devourer, Reactory, and Aldmore Artisan. For 4-cost allies, we also have 12. That's Czar Modulator, False Blood Cultist, and Stardust Extractor. So for the allies, Brimstone Devourer and Reactor are pretty self-explanatory. They go with your False Blood Cultist, your ability, your Harbinger of the Lost. Stardust Extractor is your extra draw ally, so you have 8 allies here that can give you draw. Aldmore Artisan can also draw for 2 Shadow Energy. It can dig for that Regression Chamber. It also makes Regression Chamber cheaper to play. So instead of costing 4 for you to put on the board, it costs you 2. So that means on turn 5, you could drop Regression Chamber for 2 and Reactorary for 3. Ready that Reactorary, and that's immediately 4 damage on the board. So that's a combo that you can do here. The ability, Exaltation, that's for your Czar Modulator. The combo is to have either Harbinger or Praxix or False Blood Cultist. That's 3 different ways to discard Exaltation into your graveyard. Then with Regression Chamber on the board, you play your Czar Modulator, ready your Czar Modulator, and your Modulator pulls the Exaltation out of the graveyard. Now, you may have issues with consistency. Those are quite the combos to pull off, but when it does get pulled off, it's very strong. So if you want a Chamber deck that's more consistent, but not as wham bam with that 6/10 ally, then I would replace Czar Modulator with Crystal Titan and replace that Exaltation with Mind Control. So you're still going to have the discard theme that Praxix likes to play with, but Regression Chamber is going to either be mainly readying the Reactory for 4 damage on the board, Extractor for that extra draw, or your Crystal Titan as a 5/5. It's going to kill an ally. It's going to give you that extra Shadow Energy in return, because Regression Chamber does cost 1 Shadow Energy to activate. Don't forget that. Don't try to combo it with your ability at 4 Shadow Energy. You won't be able to. You won't like the results. So that might be more consistent for you guys to play a version of Chamber like that. Number 2 on my list is Wagon Praxix. So these are decks that use Meat Wagon for Praxix. And that's the only non-ally. So this deck, 35 allies and 4 Meat Wagon. That's it. 4 Feasterling, 4 Stardust Transfusers. Common with Meat Wagon, Transfusers basically giving an ally 2/2 now, +1/+1 for the Wagon, +1/+1 for the Transfuser. Then Feasterling is a 4 attack ally with 4 health, 2 cost ally, not bad. Now for 3 cost allies, we have 16 of them, or 15 of them because I'm good at math. Death Mage Thaddeus, 3 of them. Then 4 is that? Let me do math here again. No, that's 19, isn't it, guys? Thanks for checking my math. Alright, so 3 Death Mage Thaddeus, 4 Rampant Krygons, 4 Devourers, 4 Reactories, 4 Stardust Actualizers. What's good about Stardust Actualizer here is that the ally normally comes in as 1/1, but with Meat Wagon, that ally is coming in as 2/2, and on top of that, Actualizer becomes a 3/5. So it's a 3/5 and a 2/2 with Meat Wagon in play. You get so much value out of this Meat Wagon in a Praxix deck. So whenever False Blood Cultist discarding Reactory is even stronger in this deck, instead of coming in as a 3/2, it's coming in as its normal 4/3. And if you play Reactory without the Meat Wagon, with the Meat Wagon just normally, then it's a 5/4. So again, strong allies. And Extractor's a 3/7, so it's even harder to deal with, gives you more reliable draw, and that's your Meat Wagon Praxix. I don't know if there's any other alterations I would say to this deck. This list of allies is just so good for this type of build. So if you want a very this is probably the fastest build that Praxix plays with. I've tested it out, played with it in QM. Very fast build. So if you like that kind of build, that's what you go with. Now my number 1 Praxix archetype is Discard. So discard Praxix generally uses a combination of Shock Conductor and Dagger of Fate in the deck. So does this one. 23 allies in here. 4 Harbingers, 3 Thaddeus, 4 Krygons, 4 Devourers, 4 Reactories, 4 Cultists. Pretty standard allies in this case for Praxix and Zal. Except for maybe the Harbinger. Not all Zals are using that. Abilities, I've got 1 Shriek, 4 Mind Control, and 1 Leyline. The reason I put Shriek and Leyline in here is because discard Praxix has more control themes that are going with it. They aren't just slapping you in the face or just throwing strong allies on the board. In this case, your allies are going to be dealing damage to the face, but they're not going to be doing it as quickly as a 6/10 Zar Modulator. So we have 4 Antimatter, 2 Shock Conductor, and 4 Daggers for our items. So the idea is that Shock Conductor and Dagger are doing most of the control on the board with your Mind Controls. Your False Blood Devourer discards. That way most of your time spent with your allies are hitting the opponent's face. Shock Conductor and Dagger of Fate also cancel out Antimatter. If you happen to have both on the field, Antimatter is basically free. In fact, you're probably getting more value drawing with Antimatter than not. So Antimatter feels very good in this archetype too. So that's it for my 3 main archetypes. I know some people asked about Mill Praxix, but I would only use Mill Praxix if there's a tournament that says a max of 40, like 39 plus hero, and that's it. Because when you're playing quick matches and there's a lot of 45, 48, 50 card and even more decks, Mill Praxix becomes very bad and you're going to lose a lot of games playing against those decks. Remind me if there's a tournament that comes out. I'll give you guys a deck list to try out for Mill. I didn't get enough confidence out of it trying out those decks because again, it's very hard to rely on that needing 40 cards, because not only do you need to run out of deck, your opponent needs to run out of deck, because the strategy is to mill both decks down and then for you to just recycle All Hope Is Lost through your deck to kill your opponent. So if you can't reliably mill both decks, then it's just going to be bad. So I would not recommend doing that. If you want more win percentages, stick to discard, Wagon, and Chamber Praxix decks, whichever archetype you prefer. Avoid trying to play the meme mill Praxix decks. You're not going to win a lot with them. So that's it for my builds. That's it for this video. If you guys liked it, leave a comment, subscribe, the deal. If you have other decks you want to see, post in the comments, post in the Discord, let me know. I love video requests because then I can just throw them together for you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.